Hey everybody, this is John Delarose, #1 best-selling and award-winning comic creator, coming back at you with a Comics Writer Pro Secrets. This is something I actually was doing for a while and was giving people nice writing advice on how to do their comics well and professionally. And I now have an interesting topic I've been thinking about for several days here. This is about putting cringe into your comics, putting politically active stuff into your comics, and the pitfalls to avoid. I get that people might want to touch on sensitive topics or touch on things that are important to them in their storytelling. That makes sense. But there's a kind of way to do that, and then there's a way to just hit current year political figures and piss everybody off. There's two different paths you can take when you're trying to tell an important story that's near and dear to your heart in terms of its content, and it's really a fine line to do it right versus to make a problem out of it. All right, so I've got a high school girl in the Crusades graphic novel on Indiegogo right now, and I'm a Catholic guy, and I'm very open about that. So I love Catholic history. I try to put things like that into my books. Sometimes I try to put, positive Christian messaging into my books without being cringe about it. And so I do that here. This is a fun graphic novel. We just hit 5,000 overnight as of this video's recording. So if you want to back that, it's on Indiegogo right now. That link is in the description below. All right, so politics in books is more often cringe than not. If you can avoid it, I would 100% just say just don't put it in there. It's very easy not to put it in there, especially in a story where you've got some magical thing going on that you're trying to just create that story, create those characters doing something. It's very easy to have a moral, like good heroism or doing what's right, when it's trying to be against your best interest but saving somebody else. Those things are very easy things to do that really aren't going to bother any of your readers. But when you get into current year politics, like throwing Hillary Clinton into your book, it just is going to be something that, one, it's not topical. You're going to have that sort of thing be relevant for a few months, and then it kind of goes away, and nobody's going to want to read it 4 or 5 years later. Valiant Comics found this with their Faith story, where they did that whole Hillary Clinton campaign thing, and nobody wants to read that these days. I mean, it's just really cringe, something like that. It's a little easier when you do something positive like that than when you do something negative. So if you like somebody or you want to honor somebody, it's a little easier to, I guess, not insult people. Like when I read that, I thought, gosh, this is a terrible comic book, but I never was like, I'm never going to read Valiant again. I mean, that's nothing bothersome about that. But when you put something negative about somebody that, say, half the country likes, or half of the people where you live like, half your target audience likes, you're going to cause a problem with that, and you're going to lose all your readership. So that's kind of where the line lies. It's very easy to put a topical thing into something. Ed Brubaker in his Captain America definitely put some anti-Iraq war stuff into his Captain America run back in the mid-2000s. But he really didn't throw George W. Bush in there and actually put him in there as a figure fighting against Captain America, and becoming the Red Skull or something just super cringe like that. That's a way to do things. And even though I probably, you might upset a few people, it's not going to get somebody in a spot where they're just like, wait a minute, you're attacking me personally. And that's kind of what you want to avoid. So I had a sort of situation with Matt Kindt and Tyler Jenkins. They're independent creators, and I really liked what they were doing. They did great work. They really had cool story flow. Matt Kindt really had off-the-wall ideas that were different than anybody else out there. Tyler Jenkins' art style is very cool to look at. It's got that weird sketch style, which I really enjoy. And I've been reading them for years, and I'm like, oh, this is great. They're just indie people. They're not doing the weird identity politics with Marvel and DC and all that. I can just read their books. It's fun. So I started reading their Fear Case last year, which was something that came out through Dark Horse Comics. And I'll actually show you what happened in issue number 4. This was a story about like a magical case that it causes problems whenever it gets opened, and it gets transmitted to somebody, who you hate. And it goes through, and the CIA doesn't believe it's real, and some guy's really on a whale hunt to chase it, and it comes down. They finally do find it in the final issue here, and it is real, and it is a problem, and it goes through history showing just all the evil that shows up through it. And as you can see, here you go right here, you get a little image of Hitler with this fear case thing and Trump together. And it's showing that, of course, Trump is a, quote, literal Nazi. Now, when you do something like this, especially think about the timing of this, too. It's coming out in 2021. Trump is not even president in 2021. He's completely irrelevant. It's obvious he was not Hitler. It was obvious he was not doing anything like that. He's gone. He complained about it quite a bit, but there was no tyrannical takeover of anything. There was no mass murders. In fact, he kept us out of every war. It was quite the opposite of somebody who was like aggressively taking over a whole continent. So it's really cringe. And when you look back at it, especially 4 or 5 years from now, this story loses all of its relevance because this guy, Matt Kent and Tyler Jenkins, these two guys, just wanted to go and stick it to people who were in the country, who are people who are reading their books like myself, who I voted for Trump. And now I read this and I look at this from these authors and I go, gosh, these people really hate me. They really think of me, their customer, the person who's really supported their books for years, as a Nazi. That's crazy. How could I ever buy their books again like that? So this is where the political cringe gets crazy. One, it's irrelevant after the current event, current year thing. It was irrelevant when this even came out. I mean, maybe they drew it in 2020. I don't know. But you have to think about the timing of things. Current events really don't last that long for the most part. Two, the insulting aspect to your audience and potential audience out there. It does kill your potential audience when you do things like this. It does just make people go, gosh, I can't support this. And it's really upsetting. It really is. It's insulting, and it is insulting to your intelligence, too. Because they're making this, comparison here, saying, maybe you're not smart enough to realize this, reader. Here, I'm going to throw it in your face. And so doing that sort of thing to your audience is just really cringe on every level, and it's something you shouldn't do. Pretty obvious. Now, on the other front, this case that's in the book, if they want to show that murder is evil or whatever, I mean, those are easy things to do that you can do through the story and keep it within the storytelling. You did not need this panel at all. There's no reason to have this in here. And all they had to do was just take out this one image. And even though it's kind of annoying because the literal Nazi thing is kind of annoying these days anyway, at least it wouldn't have offended half the country immediately and made them not want to buy their books ever again. Pretty simple. All right, so that's what to avoid in writing politics. That's what to avoid in writing current events. Like I said, I'd stick to issues as topics that you want to present rather than actually attack current year figures. Current year celebrities and things like that. That never ends up working well. And on the opposite side, like I said, the Hillary issue that Valiant did also, it's cringe and it's irrelevant now. It's not going to get you in as much sort of fervor, and it's not going to turn off your reader base like something like this will as much. But again, it just never works out to put that sort of thing in your comic. All right, if you have any questions, be sure to leave the comment down below. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities. Thank you for watching A Comics Writer's Pro Secrets, and I appreciate you guys out there. I appreciate all you readers, regardless of your persuasion. I definitely want you to have fun with my books all the time, and definitely don't want you to see something like this ever happening in my books. All right, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.